Hey guys, welcome back to At Home with Lady Cinnamon. Today I will be showing you how to do an easy no-sew pleated lampshade. And guys, I am so in love with the way this turned out. I've actually have several iterations of this particular lamp. As you can see, this is a previous video from years ago on this channel. This iteration is almost 5 years old. It's peeling a little bit, so I'm going to upcycle it, and I'm going to be doing these really pretty vintage high-end looking pleated lampshades. And first things first is I'm just going to prep my fabric. I went with a cotton. It's a poplin, and so it's very easy to work with. It's not thick, it's not bulky, it doesn't have a pile, and that's basically what you want to go with, something that would be used for maybe apparel or maybe quilting. So next we're going to pull out our tools. We're going to need a cutting mat, a ruler, a rotary cutter unless you have some good sewing shears or a really sharp pair of household scissors, and then whatever, fabric of your choice. I love a rotary cutter for these types of DIYs because it gives a nice clean cut. Now you do want to lay your fabric out so when it's cut you have the longest strip of fabric that you'll be using. So I'm going to actually shift this to the other side, and I'm going to be measuring from top to bottom with at least 2 inches or so longer on both sides. Now we can start cutting our fabric now that we've made all of our measurements. I like this rotary cutter because it's so clean with the cut. You really want to use something that's not going to fray. Fray brings in other issues, so that's why I would recommend it. And I can leave all of these items in the description bar below if you're interested. Now we're gonna get to the fun part, guys. I really loved doing this DIY. You're gonna switch off and get your hot glue gun and your glue sticks. You're going to make sure that you have enough material on top versus the bottom. You don't want it to be too off. Have at least 2, basically I have a lot more than that, but that's all you need. And you're going to put a dot of hot glue on the top of your lampshade and a dot of hot glue on the bottom. And this is going to be the beginning of creating your pleats. Next step, you're going to fold the fabric over onto itself to your desired size of what you want your pleats to look like on your shade. Some people like them smaller, some people like them larger. I'm basically going by the size that I'm using. And again, you're just going to add a dot of hot glue on the top and on the bottom. Now, if you don't have a straight lampshade like I do, and your lampshade basically flares at the bottom, you're just going to do the same thing, keeping them relatively the same size, but you're going to flare very slightly at the bottom to allow for the wider width if that is the shape of your lampshade on the bottom versus the top of the lampshade. So I hope that makes sense. And you're just basically going to repeat that process. When you do add a dot of glue, you basically just want to press it down, making sure that the pleats are pulled tight and neat. Now that we're done, we do have a lot of fabric left over. Of course, you won't have this much. This was my first time trying this, and I cut the camera on to try it with you guys. You guys know I love you bringing you along for all of my DIYs. And I'm just going to trim that off to about 1 inch. That's all you really need. And once we get that trimmed out, guys, we'll move on to the next step, and that's adding in hot glue inside of the lampshade, between the lampshade and the trim fabric. Once you get a little bit in there, you don't need a lot. You're simply going to press the fabric down into the hot glue, and that's all there is to this. You want to make sure that when you do this, that you're pulling it a little bit tight, but not too tight. And the fun part about this is you can either go back with the same fabric and add a border trim, or you can go in with the trim of your choice. I went with something that will look a little bit more vintage and high-end. One of them is this really pretty ruffle velvet trim, and then I also have a fringe type of trim that I'll be using on the bottom. This one has velvet in the middle, and then the actual ruffle on the top is sort of like a little bit of like high-end, a little bit translucent, and it's going to give me all of the cozy vintage vibes that I'm looking for. My bedroom is very traditional, which is where this will be displayed on my nightstand. So I wanted to go with something that's going to bring all those cozy vibes, but also make it have a sort of a vintage feel, like I went and found this at a very high-end boutique, and it's very high-end, very expensive, nice piece that you would see in one of those stores, and I made it myself. So after I added on the fringe trim, I actually went back over that little lacing and added on this ruffle velvet to really give it that pretty finished look that I'm going for. And then I'm gonna go back and remove all of my hot glue residue. And guys, I think this turned out so pretty. I'm just gonna go in and clean it up a little bit, because as we know, this is a no-sew. We use the hot glue gun for everything, and you cannot tell, it looks amazing. And actually, I think this is a good way to save money. Budget-friendly upcycling is definitely the way to go right now. And instead of going out and buying lamps that I'm really not going to like or enjoy because I'm just buying them as a replacement, I'm taking my time and waiting until I find the lamps that I really want to use. And this is the perfect way to do that. So I'm loving the way it's looking in my room. As you can see, it's very traditional with all the textures and the wall coverings. And so yeah, that's basically what I'm going with now. I'll come back with an update if I decide to maybe add some color to the base of it. In the meantime, I hope you like this DIY. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It helps others to find my channel, and it helps out my channel so much. I hope you like this. Please comment below if you're going to be trying this DIY, and I hope you do. And I'll see you guys in the next video, and I love you guys, and I want to thank you all for watching.